Have you ever wondered how COVID-19 works? Have you ever wondered how it impacts your body? Hi, my name's Nathan from the COVID Recovery Initiative, and today I'm going to give you a brief overview of how it impacts your body and the importance of treating yourself well, so hopefully you don't get it, but also can recover from this virus. So COVID-19, it actually stands for the disease process. So COVID is COVID virus, D is disease, and 19 is the year that we first saw this. So the actual virus itself is CoV-2. The second virus or version of this was seen, with CoV-1 being in 2003. Now, when CoV-2 enters the body, it generally enters into the lungs. And how it actually gets from the lungs and into our body is through the ACE2 receptor. Now, the ACE2 receptor is really a protein on our cells, and we have lots of these proteins that help regulate the things that should go in and out of our body and ideally keep the nasty things out. But the CoV-2 virus it's a bit like a lock and key. So it can get into this lock and click, unlock it, and then actually get into the cell. Now, once it actually gets into the cell, it replicates. So that's what viruses do. They basically just continue to replicate and replicate until there's so much in the cell that it literally pops or explodes. Now, what happens there is it releases all this content and fluid. So not just the virus, but all the contents of any cell, whether it be the mitochondria or other parts. And this just goes into our lungs. And this can lead to a condition called pneumonia. Now, pneumonia is really fluid in the lungs and is often the consequence of bacteria or virus. Now, if we get more and more of this happening, the lungs fill, and we just can't get the oxygen in. We can't breathe underwater, literally, and neither can our lungs. And then this leads to a lot of respiratory problems where people then have coughs and then goes further than that and eventually often need to be admitted to ICU if this becomes bad. Now, this is not in everyone, but in some people. Now, additionally to this, we're seeing a lot of problems, not just with the lungs, even though we're seeing heaps of breathing problems afterwards, but we're also seeing problems with the heart, with blood vessels, the gut, kidneys, and even liver. And this is because once this virus gets into our body, the ACE2 receptors are just not in our lungs. They're in fact over most of our organs and all of our body. Now, what this creates is an imbalance. So it breaks down the homeostasis of the body, which is a fancy word for balance, really. And this means that if we basically have a lot of keys in the lock, that what this particular protein usually does, it can't do. So it often regulates the AMP protein, so AMP. And this is primarily in regulation of inflammation and also ACE2 is in regulation of blood pressure too. So if we can't regulate the inflammation, then this again can lead to that response and cause inflammation of the heart, as well as kidneys, liver, gut, blood vessels, and we're seeing some significant problems with that as well. Now, this is how the disease process works in the body. We also see cytokine storms, which is really basically a fancy word of the immune system becoming very overprotective and overreaction. And it actually then ends up not just killing the virus, but it also ends up killing our bodies as well, or attacking our bodies. And this can be a really big problem for a percentage of people that have COVID-19. So this is how the disease process works. So this is how COVID-19 works. Now, we see a lot of people that have had the virus, a lot of people after viruses as well, and they don't recover fully. So if you've had the virus, hopefully you're recovered fully, and that's fantastic. But if you had the virus and you're not fully recovering, or the doctors are saying that you're not well and you still got it, this is what leads to what we call post-viral fatigue. And this is something we'll talk about more in some upcoming videos. So if you found this helpful, at the COVID Recovery Initiative, we're really about helping people understand this, take the fear and panic out of it, and just knowing how this really works. So please share this, and if you have any questions, please let us know, and we'll always be happy to answer them. Thank you.